Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik, your favorite host. And this is the updated variant of the Skoda Enyaq. We have the 85x variant with all the extras that we have here, around 65,000 euros. Starting price of this car is going to be 49,000 euros. It came out in 2020 and it was kind of the car that everyone chose compared to more of an ID4. There wasn't much competition for the Enyaq because it was very practical. It looked nice and in general a very nice car. Since then a lot of competition has arisen. For instance, you got a Kia EV6, you got a Hyundai Ioniq 5, you have Ford Mustang Mach-E, you have a Audi e-tron Q4. There's lots of cars that you could theoretically go for, and those have most of the times better range, better charging speed. However, that is why this update is very important for the Enyaq, because it takes on those aspects with all the technical changes and stuff like that. And one thing that is very different is the naming of the car, because it no longer shows IV for electrical vehicle or intelligent vehicle, whatever you want to name it. You now only have the 85x because everyone knows an Enyaq is an electric vehicle. The 85x also is a replacement for the 80 variants. You now have the 85 and the 85x, X standing for the all-wheel drive system. Every car currently is going to offer 286 horsepower, previously 265, and 545 Newton meters. This car is also going to be a little bit more expensive and a little bit more sportier looking because we have the sport line and also the red velvet color on here. If we open the trunk, we'll know the wonderful storage space of the Enyaq, because this is humongous. 545 liters up to 1,710 liters, or 585, there we go, the same amount of horsepower that the Kia EV6 GT has. That's the way I remember it. So a lot of space. You also got simply clever features in here. For instance, you got your wind or your windshield, what's it called? Windshield scrapper. Hey, that's a good name. Scrapper. The most German way you could pronounce it. Simply clever scrapper. Down here you have a little bit more storage space where you can, for instance, put your nets in there. You could maybe even put a charging cable in there, but that is where this comes into place, because you got your charging cable right in there, because you don't actually have a frunk, so you're gonna have to put it somewhere back here. But I think, let me quickly try it out. Easy, you don't even need this thing. So this is very nice because you got a ton of storage space. You can also flip over the seats with the button on the rear. I'm not going to do this right now because we have some stuff in there. But in general, a humongous storage space. If you want a little bit less, you can get the coupe, but yeah. The car is going to be 4.65 meters long, 1.88 meters wide, and also 1.62 meters tall. The ground clearance is also going to be 18.7 centimeters, as well as you're going to be able to load a total of 75 kilograms on the top, as well as only tow 1.2 tons, which is not that nice to have an increase that from the previous one. You can tell that we also have the Sportline because we have the biggest rims on here, the 21-inch. With the Sportline, you get the choice between 20 and 21. With the other one, you would theoretically also get 19 inches, which I would recommend for the most ride quality. We also have the Sportline logo on here, and in general black and red touches, like already mentioned, velvet red metallic premium color, 1,030 euros extra. Up here you can also charge the car, so let's do a quick charging test.
The 85X and RS models now get a faster charging speed of up to 175 kilowatts from a previous 135 kilowatts, which the other models still get. That decreased the charging time by 8 minutes down to 26 minutes. You can now also precondition the battery back for optimal charging times, which we will look at more when driving. All current models come with an 82 kilowatts an hour battery with 77 kilowatts an hour net usage battery, which offers a range of up to 538 kilometers, around a 14 kilometers upgrade due to the better cell chemistry and thermal management. And our 10 to 80% test was very promising. We had a time that was only 23 minutes. The average speed was 119.3 kilowatts and the energy recharged was 46.5 kilowatts an hour. The max charging speed was also right up there at 174.5 kilowatts. You can see the graph also very nice. It goes up to the speed instantly of the max speed and then slowly drops down up to 80 or down to 80%. But a very quick charging time at 23 minutes. That is a very big improvement.
The Sportline is also noticeable. As you can see, we have these black touches. We also have these black outlets in here, which do go through all the way to the wheel, but these like housing of it look in black, which is new with the Sportline. You also in here have your crystal face, which is very nice, illuminates at night with 90 different grille elements in there, and 132 pixels? 131 pixels, which is quite a lot. And you also have the crystal lightning in here, or crystal light in there, which is the matrix LED light from Skoda, which you get standard with the Sportline variant. Down here a little bit of, well, cooling in there which looks cool with it, a little bit of a bigger lip, which is in red. Maybe that could have been also in black, that would have been cool, but then you would have had like this full in black. So red looks pretty good. With also this indent in here, and like I already mentioned, you don't have a frunk in the front. The space in the back is also fairly humongous. You got plenty of space here, 1.80 m, adjusted to me in the front of 5'11". You can put your feet fairly nicely under there, and you can see the seats are also fairly slanted. Therefore, you have a fairly high attack angle, I'm going to say. So you can put your thigh fairly nicely onto the bench, which is nice. You also get up on the top, you get that panoramic window, or the sun window, which you can open, but it doesn't go too far back. But then, which is nice, up here you actually have an in-carving, so you have a little bit more of space up on the top for your head. And one thing you can also do is take out this bottom layer in here, so you can take that completely out, so you have a false floor in there. 2 USB-Cs down there. You also have, DC out, not a DC, an AC outlet. Heated seats in the back, and also your own climate control in there. And you can see I also have this thing in here, which is another simply clever feature. If we open this down in the center and flip this out, we can plug this in here, and it's the other way. It is a little bit of an iPad holder, so you can view films in here. But I'll be honest, the view in here is not the nicest, so it's a little bit of a, well, you're gonna have to look down like this. Actually, can you slant it up? No, you cannot. Can you? You can. There you go. That's a little bit better. So you can do this, but still you're gonna have to be, oh, that's a beautiful film that you're looking at there, Lars. That's wonderful. Which is not that nice. You can also flip this down, so you have a pass-through way in here, where you can, for instance, put skis or stuff like that in there. But it's very spacious in the back, and quality-wise also very comfortable. So join me in the inside of the Skoda Enyaq 85x. You can see we have the sport line, so we get a little bit of different touches in here. For instance, these carbon touches, well, fake carbon touches. Up here, fairly nice material. Everywhere you touch is good quality. Up in the front, apart from the side, there's fairly good amount of hard plastic down there, and also down there. But other than that, this is also fairly good quality up here, with the typical Skoda kind of looking door handle. In those doors, you'll also get 2 umbrellas for your simply clever features. One thing that you also get on the side here is you get a dirt bag. No, you get a trash bag, not a dirt bag. A dirt bag is a different thing. Lots of piano black in the center console, which I'm not the biggest fan of. 2 fairly small cup holders in here, so you can't fit a normal bottle in there, and you can take that out so you can put something else in there. Inductive loading down there, so I can plop my phone down there and it'll not move around, and a little bit of other space there. However, you will not fit another phone in there. You can put something else in there. A little bit more storage space down here with a very small gear lever, 2 coin holders down here as well, which is an interesting touch. So you got 2 coin holders in there and the electrical parking brake. Lots of storage space down there as well. You can take that out, and you can also take this out as well. So you get a ton of storage space, and then theoretically I could put my bottle in there if you want to do that. You can even put some ice in there, so you have an ice cold bottle holder. The infotainment display has changed a little bit, just the, well, a couple of new buttons in here, and also other things. For instance, if we go into the menu and we go into the charging in here, that has changed a little bit, so the overview is a little bit different. You can preset how much you want to charge to. I like to keep it on 80, especially when I'm driving, because 80 is the usual value. And then you have the new option, which is optimize your rapid charging, so pre-conditioning basically. You can see currently you would be able to charge at a max speed of 105 kilowatts, but if we optimize it, we can charge at 119 kilowatts if we pre-charge it for 13 minutes. Usually this takes around 5 minutes more, I have noticed. System is actually fairly responsive and not like your typical Volkswagen Group cars, where it is a little bit laggy. And there we go. But this has changed. You also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wirelessly, which is nice. Let's drive a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what you see in front of me. So the main aspect that has obviously changed in this car is the technology kind of side of stuff. That means all models are now going to get 285 horsepower or 86 horsepower. Previously that was 265. All the models, meaning the 85X and the 85 with the all-wheel drive system. And the 85X is also going to be the only model, which I already mentioned, that gets the fast charging, as well as the RS model. If you also want to get the RS model, that is upgraded to 340 horsepower compared to the 299 it had before, which is definitely a needed improvement. We did to drive the RS Coupe edition once. For me, it just wasn't a Skoda RS. VRS is something I will see a little bit different. The safety features have also gotten a little bit of an upgrade. For instance, the new EU law, so you get that automatic sound now. You get travel assists and a couple of other things in here. Travel assist does work fairly decently. However, you have to jank the wheel quite a lot to recognize that you're actually touching the wheel. But other than that, it will keep the distance in front of you. It will automatically change lanes. You got blind spot assistance and stuff like that. You do have that small display in the center here, or in front of me, which is basically your infotainment display, but your digital cockpit, which shows you all the relevant information, but it is fairly small, but still plenty enough information so you can scroll through it between here a little bit, and you can change a couple of things in there, for instance, showing your range and stuff like that. You do have a heads-up display, which is very nice because it's an augmented reality one, so it shows you, for instance, a car in front of you. It does like that little line in there. But one thing that I find a little bit weird is the black bar that we have in front here. It's something that I'm not too sure what is it meant for. Maybe a little bit so it doesn't reflect the heads-up display which you have in front, and maybe also your eye sensors in there, so if you're sleepy or whatever, maybe that is also, and I'm not too sure. It just looks a little bit weird in my opinion. One thing I definitely noticed as well, the first time I stepped into this car, I've gotten used to it now, but the amount of space that you have from your eyes up to the front of the vehicle, this in here is insanely big, also due to the fact that the window is fairly slanted. But you just have plenty of space in there, which makes it a little bit weird in the city because you're gonna have to adapt to it, that there's so much space in the front, which you'll have to get used to, but you get used to it fairly quickly. Surrounding view in this car is also surprisingly good. Window in the back is big, and therefore you have a very good view at the back with all the assistant features. 360-degree camera and stuff like that makes it really, really nice to see out and everywhere you want to see. You also get assistant features, for instance, beeping in front, beeping in the back, and side, wherever you want to have beeping, you can have beeping. Steering wheel also feels fairly decent in your hand. You have a little bit of a style in the bottom with the Sportline, like the cutout in the bottom. But the car also has 545 horsepower with those 286 horsepower. Newton meter and 286 horsepower. That is quite a lot, so a big upgrade. If you compare it to, instance, previously you even had the 40 variant, which had 148 horsepower, very underpowered for this car. Before it felt okay fast, and now it feels fairly fast, especially when you're driving in the city and you're going into different modes. You have a couple of different modes in here. If we go into Eco, that's the thing I like to drive in most because the gas pedal is very, very, very responsive. And this way it is fairly nice. If we go into the normal mode, oops, you see if for instance, let me quickly go on the side here and stop. How I would accelerate with any other car. So for instance, doing this, I would accelerate, and it is fairly responsive. So especially if you're in a parking spot or something and you're used to other cars, the responsiveness of that gas pedal is very direct. So I like driving an Eco, especially when I'm driving in the city, because it's just a little bit more, or has a nicer feeling to it. The gas pedal, the brake pedal is also it has a very long distance until the back, so I have to press it down fairly high. So this is basically, any other car would be full brake pedal, but that was like 50-60%. So you don't have too much feeling in there. We do have the DCC chassis in here, so we can go in here and we can go into, well, if you shortcut it and do the mode, and then let's open that, go into the adjust settings, and you can see dynamic chassis control. That is an option that you can choose. It'll be a little bit of a more sportier feeling or chassis tuning than you would get with the normal one, so you can choose it between a lot of different settings. I'll be honest, if you put it onto complete comfort and complete sport, I don't feel too much difference, but you will notice a difference if you get the DCC, and if you drive a car that doesn't have it, you'll feel the suspension being a little more harder. This is a fairly nice and comfortable, well, suspension in my opinion. Feels very nice. You can also adjust a couple other things. I put the steering onto sport because therefore it is just a little bit more hard and a little bit more direct compared to a lighter steering wheel, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I'd rather have a little bit of a harder steering wheel. You do also have pedals on the back of the steering wheel, which are for your recuperation. You do not have a full one pedal drive in here, but you will be able to drive this car in almost one pedal drive because they have like this auto recuperation, which will adjust to the driver in front of you, and also speed sign, so it will slow down without you having to do anything. If I'm, for instance, not doing anything, the car in front of us is going to slow down, and you can see the car is also slowing down a little bit. They're almost completely slowing down, which is a nice thing, but you theoretically don't have a one pedal drive mode. But performance wise, this car definitely has improved. You can feel
that is a fairly good punch. 6.6 seconds, previously 6.8 or 6.7, and other models had, for instance, 8, almost 10 seconds. With the 148, you were looking at 11 seconds. So with all the lines that are currently out variants, this is a fairly nice touch. And the RS model is also going to be a second quicker now, so 5.6 or 5.7, something around there. Max speed has also been improved to 180 compared to 160 before. So also if you're driving on the Autobahn, you can go a little bit faster, but that will definitely diminish your range quite a lot. You do also have massage function in the seats and memory function, but the massage function is not really, well, a particular normal massage function that you'd find. It's just a very basic one. Basically air pads in the back that will squish the seat a little bit in, but not something that will massage your back in different spots. It'll just be a little bit of ergonomical kind of touch.
So what is my final verdict on the Skoda Enyaq updated variant? Well, that technical update was a very, very major thing that they needed to do to stay competitive with the other competitors. And that's one thing that really did. Faster charging speed, a little bit more range, and just in general, a very good looking car in my opinion as well. It's very practical. You get a ton of room in there and a good amount for your money. So let me know what you guys think of this car in the description or in the comments. Leave a like to support the channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And don't forget to subscribe.